Are you the type of person that wants to read more books but simply can't find the time in the day to read page by page? Or perhaps you think you're a slow reader, or even so is that you don't have the patience to just sit there and try and read. Well, audiobooks is probably one of the best forms of consuming information because you simply have someone speaking to you, reading you the book. So in this video, I want to talk to you about my 3-phase process that I do when I listen to audiobooks. Now, there's plenty of platforms for audiobooks. You have things like eStories, audiobooks, Audible, which is Amazon and what I prefer, and you have things like Scribd, and there's plenty of platforms that I'm pretty sure more are gonna emerge on the marketplace. But what you choose is totally up to you and your preference. Like I said, I personally choose Audible just because it's owned by Amazon and they're a big ginormous company, so they can put a lot more time and energy into developing their app a lot quicker than probably most other companies. And one of the biggest benefits to audiobooks is that you don't have to sit down and simply read. You're having someone read it to you. So now you can be washing your dishes and listening to the audiobook. You can be driving to work or out for a jog and listening to the audiobook. So you can pair two things together. So it's not just, washing your dishes and that's it, but you're washing your dishes and you're listening to an audiobook. So you're just getting education when you're not doing essential tasks and you have that free time to listen to audiobooks. Now, let me share with you my 3-phase process and how I listen to audiobooks, take notes, and review notes. Number 1 is the initial listening to the audiobook. So what a lot of people actually do is, since it's in audio form, they simply just listen to it. So when like I said earlier, when you're washing your dishes, when you're cleaning your car, when you're cleaning up your house, when you're on a jog, they'll just simply listen to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as retaining the information for long term, it's a bit more difficult. Yes, there's better ways for memory retention to store things in your mind, but I'm not at that phase yet, so I can't do it that well. So if you're just, when you're listening to the audiobook and you're running or you're washing your dishes, then you're only going to retain the information for so long. So what I do is, to make sure that I'm going to come back to these notes, is that on Audible, at least on my S5, I'm pretty sure the iPhone apps also have this function, but there's a bookmark feature on the Audible app. So as I'm listening to it and I pick up on something that's useful that I may want to refer to later, I'll hit the bookmark feature. I'll hit the bookmark button, so it saves that spot so I can reference it later once I'm done with the book. Step 2 is, now that I have dozens and dozens and dozens of bookmarks, I will sit down on my desk and go one by one and listening to what I bookmarked. So now I'll go through it, and if I deem it worthy, in my Evernote, I'll make a note and I'll start writing down those notes. So I'll listen to the audiobook, I'll bookmark the things that I think will be worthy for future reference, I'll sit down on my desk, and then I'll review those bookmarks, and then I'll write down in my Evernote which ones were useful, and I'll delete the ones, or just simply won't write down the bookmarks that I bookmarked earlier when I was initially listening to it. Now, step 3 is, once I'm done writing all the notes in my Evernote via the bookmarks that I saved, now I go back and reread the entire note, and I highlight the most important areas that will impact my life. Now, when I have to reference it, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it's much more easier to scan through the note and see what parts I deem most important, so I can focus on those first. Obviously, I can still read through the entire note, but when you have 1,000, 1,500, 3,000, 6,000 words of notes and you're referencing it 6 months down the line, it's kind of easier to skim through it once I highlighted the areas and I know those are most important, or at least I deemed most important at the time of taking those notes. Yes, this is a lot more work, but when I have to reference it 3, 6, 9 months down the road, it is well worth it. So on average, an audiobook, from start to finish, from listening to it to writing the last word in my note of notes, it can take me anywhere between 4 to 5 to perhaps even 10 hours from start to finish. So this is listening to the entire audiobook and writing all my notes down. So it is quite a bit of time, but since I listen to it at 2x the speed, which is 2 times the speed, so instead of the audiobook being 10 hours, I'll finish it in 5 hours, then I still finish it faster than if I was reading a book. Because for one, I'm not the fastest reader, I haven't learned how to speed read, and then writing the notes from, physically reading it to writing it on my Evernote would take a bit longer. So I still feel like I am saving time. It's not concrete numbers because I haven't really tested how long I would take to read those books. But I do listen to the audiobook at 2.55x the speed. So it is a lot quicker. So, a 10-hour book is actually maybe 3 hours and 45 minutes. So it's not actually 2 times. It's not cut in half. It's cut more than half because I listen to it at 2.55 times faster, which is an essential part. Which is why it's such a benefit to me because I can speed up the process. And that's a great tip for you, is that if you don't have enough time, if you only have 5 minutes from your house to your work, those 5 minutes turn into almost 20 minutes of audiobook time, which is, enough time to get a lot of information and to complete those books in still a relatively short amount of time. So hope you enjoyed this video. This is how I listen to audiobooks. Let me know how you listen to them, whether you just listen to them and you retain the information really well, or if you actually listen to audiobooks and then write the notes as you go. So leave a comment down below. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, since I'll be posting a lot more videos, and I'd be more than happy for you to be notified when those come out. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.